A lot of kids must spend time alone, but volunteers in the Portland area are making sure a friend is only a phone call away.
Can you tell me when your mom will be home today?
Well, that's gonna be hard because...
A good friend to talk to can make a difference no matter what your age. KPTV and our For Kids' Sake sponsors encourage you to become a phone friend volunteer because it only takes a little to do a lot of good for kids' sake.
What happens when something hot meets something cool?
Hot eats, cool treats, a Dairy Queen.
The full meal deal, and it's going fast for just $2.99. Get a juicy burger with lettuce and tomato, hot fries, soft drink, and only Dairy Queen gives you a delicious sundae in your favorite flavors. The full meal deal. Best bargain in town, just $2.99.
Hot eats, cool treats, sweet treats you right.
TV 12, KPTV, Portland. Welcome to Magic in the Air 94, a fast-paced, fun-filled look at the 1994 U.S. Bank Rose Festival Airshow. KPTV's exclusive coverage is brought to you in part by your Northwest Ford dealers, home of the F-Series truck, the best-selling vehicle in America. By Taco Bell, satisfy your late-night craving, open 24 hours. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil, add more life to your car. And by Toyota, I love what you do for me. Now, your hosts for Magic in the Air 94, KPTV's Rod Anders and Elaine Murphy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rod Anders.
And I'm Elaine Murphy, and we'd like to welcome you to KPTV's exclusive coverage of the U.S. Bank Rose Festival Airshow.
Over the next 2 hours, we'll be bringing you all the highlights of this year's exciting event, which is expected to attract over 200,000 spectators to the Hillsborough Airport.
Our own Lars Larson and Ken Ackerman will be joining us and bringing you a behind-the-scenes look at the performers who are taking part in the 7th Rose Festival Airshow.
A cast of all-stars include national aerobatic champion Patty Wagstaff, glider pilot Manfred Radius, Bud Granley in his Russian yak,
Sean D. Tucker with his power aerobatic routine, and this year's headliners, of course, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds are anxiously waiting for the show to begin.
So after this short break, we'll get the show in the air. Stay where you are. We'll be right back.
It's the outrageous comedy about a guy on the inside.
Trust me.
Looking for a way out. Inner Space, Monday at 7:30 on TV 12.
I bought my car new in 1970. I drove a hockey team a 190-mile round trip 3 times a week.
Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
I took good care of it. And when I reached 300,000, I thought, I've got to be a pretty good car.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer.
The secret to long life is regular maintenance for me and my car.
Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
Introducing the new supercharged Toyota Previa SC. Oh, the sacrifices we make for our children.
Where in the world are the perfect parents?
Hey, this looks great. I have always dreamt of a life without the ever-present nuisance of electricity. Just let me grab something from the plane. I seem to have left my butter churn in the overhead compartment. Florence!
On July 22nd, Rob Reiner takes North on a worldwide search for the perfect parents.
Hang in there, kid. You'll find what you're looking for.
North, rated PG. At theaters Friday.
pilots come from many different walks of life. Now, one of them here today has been a shipwreck diver, served beer in a mining camp, been an economic development planner, and a chauffeur. And now add to that diverse list 3 U.S. National Aerobatic Championships, and you've described none other than Patty Wagstaff.
I like to tell people that when I fly, I do everything but fly right side up. It's as free as you can get without being a bird.
But National Aerobatic Champion Patty Wagstaff does things even birds wouldn't dream of.
The airplane is not flying you. You're not sitting back there holding this big stick trying to, control it or move it around the sky. This is plugged into your cerebellum, and you've got your hands, you've got your hand on the stick that you can fly with 2 fingers. It's very light.
Her German-built Extra 300S weighs in at only 1,300 pounds. Its 6-cylinder Lycoming engine producing over 328 horsepower. It climbs 4,000 feet per minute and rolls 420 degrees per second, capable of withstanding 15 Gs.
Every day I fly it, I learn something new. And every day I fly it, I get better.
Patty's office is testament to her drive for perfection. It's littered with medals and trophies, the walls covered with photos chronicling her achievements. But for Patty, there's always a new challenge.
Well, it's always been a dream of mine to fly warbirds.
That dream came true this spring in Patty's own backyard at the Pinell Air Park near Tucson, Arizona, home to vintage craft owned by Oregon-based Evergreen International.
I need to get her started.
And I, of course, go to a lot of air shows where I see a lot of warbird planes, and I see these guys taxiing them around and taking off, and I think, I can fly that, I can do that. Just give me a chance.
It's the same kind of plane George Bush once flew, the Grumman TBM Avenger torpedo bomber, flown off carrier decks during World War II.
It's a lot different in a lot of ways, in the way it handles, and the way it feels, the procedures, the retractable landing gear, things like that.
But in a way, Patty grew up flying big planes. Her father was a pilot for Japan Airlines.
My biggest thrill as a kid was when my dad would take me out on a trip with him. And he flew a lot of domestic flights around Japan, so I'd sit up in the DC-6 or DC-4, whatever it was, and he'd let me fly.
Little did either of them know, one day Patty's achievements would be ranked right alongside those of America's first woman of flight, Amelia Earhart. The Smithsonian Institute's Air and Space Museum has an exhibit dedicated to the first woman to make a solo flight over the Atlantic, and right next to it, last March, a new exhibit opened, honoring the first woman to win the U.S. National Aerobatic Championship, Patty Wagstaff.
I'm a woman, and I know that interests a lot of people in aviation. I mean, if you didn't know I was a woman in the plane, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. The airplane doesn't know the difference, and we all know that. There's really no gender difference in, who can fly and who can't. But I think when people go to an air show, they really like the fact that there's a woman flying the airplane and doing the same things the men are doing, being just as aggressive.
The men are proud to say they have flown alongside Patty Wagstaff and, after posing for pictures, treat her to a rite of initiation reserved for every torpedo bomber pilot.
Oh, no.
It's always fun. I've never had a flight that wasn't fun.
Patty didn't learn to fly until after she met her husband, who is a certified flight instructor. And after her first lesson, she said she knew her niche in life would be flying, which is what she's about to do for the crowd here. So let's watch the amazing Patty Wagstaff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are now going to bring you Patty Wagstaff, the 1991, 1992, and 1993 U.S. National Aerobatic Champion. Here she comes, ladies and gentlemen, just off the runway, off to your left, Patty Wagstaff, in the beautiful Extra 300. And the air show smoke comes on. Here comes the airspeed right in front of us, goes straight up. She starts to turn the airplane. and turns it the other way. Look at it corkscrew through the sky. And again, pushes over the top, inverted, starting back down towards show center. Patty Wagstaff in the extra 300S. Now, once again, Patty climbs straight up. We're looking at the top of the airplane now, and eventually even 328 horsepower won't take it any higher, and she starts to fall back down through the smoke in the tail slide. And she does that so beautifully, and look at the recovery she makes as she comes out of that. Always keeping the performance right in front of us, and that's the key, of course, to a great aerobatic sequence. A half loop. And she throws in a snap roll, and another snap roll, and another one as she goes down the show line. Look at that airplane. Got tremendous roll capabilities and snap roll capabilities. This is a 360-degree turn, snap rolling all the way around, maintaining constant roll rate and altitude. This is a very difficult maneuver to do because you see she's rolling to the outside. Into the knife edge, and look at her doing that wiggle-waggle for you here as she does the knife edge pass and just wiggle-waggling that airplane back and forth. Tremendous airplane and a fabulous pilot.
Throughout the show, you'll be hearing pilots refer to how many G's they're pulling. What exactly are G's and how do they affect you? Well, we decided to send our own Ken Ackerman out to answer these weighty questions.
They fly through the air with the greatest of G's. You hear about G's, but what exactly is a G-force?
It's a force that pushes from the top straight down through your body. The higher the G, the more everything's trying to get pushed down. All these soft organs in your torso, like even the heart, I imagine, the lungs, your intestines, the diaphragm, all that stuff is getting kind of shoved down. Conceivably, you could experience tearing of the linings in there, displacement of the organs. Sometimes blood vessels will break in your eyes just due to the pressure.
Jeff Silver is a captain with the Oregon Air Guard. He jokes about it now, but that wasn't the case when he was strapped to his seat during his G training inside a centrifuge.
What I'm doing is just enduring 20 seconds of high G spinning, and they're analyzing my G straining maneuver. The F-15 is good to 9 Gs. On a good day, if I go out and do a great brake turn, I'll get about an 8.6, 8.7 G brake turn.
That's about 8.
Yeah, that's 8 Gs right there.
This nightmare of a merry-go-round can age a person in a split second. Looks like loads of fun? Well, if you've been on a carnival ride, you too have experienced G's, to a somewhat lesser extent.
I'd bet it's anywhere from 2 to 2.5 Gs, something like that, on a carnival ride that's spinning you around.
This is fun for you.
Yeah, yeah, believe it or not.
The only thing that you'll feel is the pressure in your face. We'll give it to you at normal safety pressure, and then we'll bring it up.
You know, I could get used to this lifestyle without even stepping foot in a centrifuge. You know, being a pilot certainly has its privileges.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, Jeff. The women will be just all over me.
They're actually waiting outside. I wouldn't go out that way. I'll take you out the back.
We hope you'll stay with us because when we come back, our focus will be on the past.
Lars Larson will tell us about the women who flew during World War II, the Wasp Corps.
And the air show will pay tribute to some of the planes that flew at Normandy.
Rock the beach, 59, 79, 99 cents each. Crunch so big, price so low. So eat Taco Bell tacos. Well, they're open 24 hours. You should be jamming, snapping your jammies. Cross the border.
There are a couple of very good reasons why you should buy a Ford Escort instead of a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla. For starters, Escort is the #1 selling compact car in America. Priced thousands less than a Corolla or a Civic, the Ford Escort comes with a much more attractive hood ornament. Buy one today at your local Northwest Ford dealer.
Hi, John Reese from Dunwoody, Georgia writes, I love Snapple. I want to know if you have a mascot, and if not, could I be it? All right.
He wants to be a mascot. He has to train hard. He has to be physical. Just wearing a costume is a lot of work because the head might be too heavy. You have to have an attitude to be successful, to be great. You have to have an attitude to be a mascot. We're proud of you, John.
Thanks.
If you like that bouncy feeling of salon-conditioned hair, you can keep it that way on your own with the new Vidal Sassoon system. Only Sassoon's expertise could create shampoos and conditioners with our exclusive protection formula, enriched with protein and moisturizers to fortify right to the cuticle edge, protecting hair from styling damage, so you can keep it in silky, bouncy salon condition all the time. For hair with salon feeling every day, Vidal Sassoon.
Well, it's certainly our pleasure to be here. This is our photo pass, and we're going to try to do a little waving action, Steve.
Ladies and gentlemen, get those cameras out, because this is the new paint scheme of FedEx.
I'll bet you didn't know that the world's largest wooden structure is just a short drive from here. The coastal Oregon town of Tillamook is home to an enormous building that is full of history.
In the early days of World War II, Japanese submarines terrorized shipping off the west coast of the United States. The Navy responded to this threat with a fleet of helium blimps capable of patrolling vast areas at slow speeds. From 1942 to 1945, Blimp Squadron ZP-33, with 8 of the huge aircraft, flew out of Naval Air Station Tillamook. Much of the airbase still remains, including Hangar B, the largest clear-span wooden structure in the world. This building is big. How big? 2 million board feet of Douglas fir hold this building up. Over 1/5 of a mile long, 20 stories high, and as wide as a football field is long. In fact, you could play 6 football games in here at the same time. Today, the hangar houses the finest collection of World War II airplanes in the Northwest at the Blimp Hangar Museum.
Roy Stafford, director of the new Tillamook Naval Air Station Museum. This is the beginning, and it's the beginning of what we believe is going to be the largest and best aviation museum on the entire West Coast. First, and one of the most unusual aircraft we have is the old Blank Air Cruiser. It was built in 1938. It was one of the original Bush planes up in Canada and Alaska, and carried 12 people and anything you can get inside of it. We also have the famous Spitfire, famous for the Battle of Britain. We have a Mark 9, which actually has combat history from World War II. Behind me here is my favorite, being a former naval aviator, is the famous Corsair from World War II. Was the leading aircraft for the Navy at the end of the war, flown by the famous Jolly Rogers of Tommy Blackburn, and of course Bad Bad Black Sheep fame with Pappy Boyington and his group. Right now we have, of course, the famous P-51 Mustang, which was a leading Air Force fighter of World War II. We have the Grumman Wildcat, which was our leading Navy fighter at the beginning of the war, famous for the Cactus Air Force, where the Marines flew in the Guadalcanal. Inclusive in here, the Duck, which is a very unique airplane, the only flying example of it in the world also. Has a big round engine, it's amphibious, and carry 4 of your best friends along with you. Also included in the collection, we have, of course, the famous Guppy, which was originally designed to carry the moon rocket parts from where they were built in California down to Huntsville, Alabama, and Florida for reassembly. The PBY Catalina, famous amphibious scout plane and patrol bomber. The TBM torpedo bomber, which was famous for George Bush flying the aircraft. And we have probably the finest steerman, which was the primary trainer that most Navy and Army Air Corps pilots learned to fly in World War II. All of these are flying aircraft. Come out this summer and you'll perhaps see a Mustang fly on any given day, or a Corsair, our famous Duck, which is the only flying duck in the world right now, and along with the Spitfire and the other aircraft.
This past June marked the 50th anniversary of the Allied invasion of Normandy. Rose Festival Airshow organizers have gathered an impressive display of aircraft from that era.
The first strategic bomber used in combat by the U.S. in World War II. The B-17 contributed more to the conclusion of the war in Europe than any other aircraft. Next up is the B-17, owned by Evergreen Air Venture Museum here in McMinnville, Oregon. A beautifully restored B-17 that is flown today by Bill Mazzala. And finally, the B-24 Liberator, capable of carrying more bombs faster and further than the B-17. The B-24 was used extensively in both the Pacific and European theaters of World War II. And now taking off, 3 P-51D Mustangs. With superior range and performance, the P-51 Mustang was an excellent bomber escort, perhaps the best fighter of World War II. And now as they come around for their first pass over the skies of Hillsboro, Oregon, they are going to be lining up in formation. 2 B-17s, a B-24 Liberator, and 3 P-51s. Ladies and gentlemen, the date was June 6, 1944, and after long months of preparation and planning for the greatest amphibious operation in history, it ended on that date. During the preceding night, great armadas of convoys and their escorts sailed, unknown to the enemy, along the swept channels from the Isle of Wight to the Normandy coast. Heavy bombers of the Royal Air Force attacked enemy coast defense guns in their concrete emplacements, dropping 5,200 tons of bombs. When dawn broke, the United States Air Force came on the scene to deal with the other shore defenses, followed by medium and fighter bombers. In the 24 hours of June 6, the Allies flew over 14,600 sorties. So great was the air superiority in that all the enemy could put up during daylight over the invasion beaches was a mere 100 sorties.
Not all of the planes during the Second World War were flown by men. A group of women, known as Wasps, took on some flying chores themselves. Here is the story of those courageous women who answered the call to duty.
I take off without the backside of the
73-year-old Isabel Martel has been sitting behind the controls of airplanes for more than half a century. These days, she flies a Cessna 182, the simple, lightweight workhorse of general aviation. But 50 years ago, Isabel Martel flew some of the most powerful warplanes in existence at the time.
I remember down at Phoenix that sometimes they were so hot in the summertime, you had to be careful not to touch them because you'd get burnt. It seems so different now. It's been such a long time since I've sat in one.
The Air Force lets women train as combat pilots today, but not back then. However, some of the women pilots did think about the idea.
I really did think about that. And I loved, doing the dogfighting.
Isabel Martel says she practiced her combat fantasies on days when weather would shut down the field for incoming flights.
Engineering pilots would have a whole board full of airplanes, 86s, and we'd go out and chase each other around the clouds and have a great time, So I liked that part of it. But then I thought about killing people. And I didn't know how I was going to deal with that.
They're civil service now, but if plans work out, they'll be in this man's Army soon.
The Army had promised to militarize the WASP pilots, but in 1944 the idea fell apart. But years later, prominent members of Congress argued the women pilots deserved recognition, that they had been, in fact, veterans of World War II.
The WASP, according to the overwhelming opinion of station commanders where they were on duty, were as efficient and effective as male pilots in most types of duties and were better than men in some instances, such as towing targets for gunnery practice.
In 1977, the Congress and the Pentagon finally granted the WASP their place in military history, and the women veterans their honorable discharges.
These 1,100 WASP, women Air Force service pilots, proved in 1942 that military women are more than able and willing to share the burden of national defense.
Today, Isabel still teaches people how to fly. Gladys Embry learned from Isabel and today has her own instructor's license. Isabel Van Loom went on to become a flight instructor at Oregon State University and later flew for Flightcraft. On December 20th, 1944, just 13 days after the graduation of the latest WASP class, the Army disbanded the unit and sent the women pilots home.
I'm very happy that we've trained 1,000 women to fly the Army way. I think it is going to mean more to aviation than anyone realizes.
The advantages of getting to fly the military airplanes, I think I was a little patriotic too, but mainly I wanted to get in there and fly those airplanes.
We had a good time. It was the adventure of the lifetime.
But I want you to know that we would have flown for nothing. We would have flown for nothing.
Don't go away. When we return, I'll take you to Salinas, California to visit with the king of power aerobatics, Sean D. Tucker.
And we'll look inside the power plant that keeps an F-15 in the air.
On the next Cobra, Scandal is used as a decoy, but he feels more like a sitting duck. Cobra.
Tuesday night at 8 on KPTV 12.
All 4x4s claim they look good in the great outdoors. But only the Ford Explorer can measure up in the great indoors. It gives you the most interior room in its class, with a split fold-down seat and a spare tire stored up under the body so it's out of your way. When it comes to space and value, you can see why Explorer is America's #1 selling 4x4. See it today at your local Northwest Ford dealer.
Them Taco Bell tacos, rock the beach, 59, 79, 99 cents each. Crunch so big, price so low, so eat Taco Bell tacos.
This is Pete.
Wake up, Pete! While you asleep, let's go to Taco Bell. They're open 24 hours. You should be shopping, not in your jammies. Cross the border.
If this ticket wins, I'll come back tomorrow and leave you a tip. What do you think?
I think I'm never going to see you again.
Winning the lottery made Charlie a millionaire.
Just a quick stop at Tiffany's, darling, and I'll be born again.
Giving it away
I owed her a chip.
$2 million? Come on!
made him rich beyond his wildest dreams.
What you did was like a fairy tale.
Nicolas Cage, Bridget Fonda, Rosie Perez. It could happen to you. Rated PG.
Starts Friday, July 29th at a theater near you.
You can follow your recipe through the letter, but for the crispiest, juiciest chicken, you need a really great oil. That is why I only use Crisco. You can trust Crisco to get chicken crispy outside, juicy inside, every time. The taste is so light, never heavy, never oily. And you know Crisco is 100% pure vegetable oil. To be sure your chicken is crispy, make sure your oil is Crisco.
Wondered what makes aerobatic planes so highly maneuverable? Well, one reason is that they're lightweight, many made from fabric that's stretched across steel tubing.
fabric that, as you can see, is covered with paint. This is an actual piece off our next performer's plane, and how it ended up in my hands is a story of near disaster.
Hello, Sean Tucker.
Sean D. Tucker began this air show season in much brighter spirits than he did last year. That's because this is what his Pitts S2S looked like a year ago. At the beginning of the air show season, a runaway plane chewed into his wings, but not even that could keep Sean down.
That's my altitude.
Within 10 days, he was back to performing, thanks to borrowed wings, help from friends, and his infectious optimism.
You know, I consider myself very lucky. I wake up happy, even if I'm broke.
And he's happiest in the air. At his practice area called Fat City, just outside Salinas, California, he gives farm workers pause from their daily routine. This kind of pounding, heart-stopping flying takes conditioning, like running, like lifting weights. It takes special protection, like pads for the hips, like support for the spine. 10 months of the year, Sean practices.
I want to make sure when that fan leaves the air show arena, they know that Sean D. Tucker gave 110% and their hard-earned dollar was well spent and worth it.
Oh, here they are.
The other 2 months of the year are devoted to tearing his 1-800-COLLECT Challenger down to the bone and rebuilding it. That's because by season's end, Sean will have made 6,000 flights, logging more than 2,000 hours.
Just tie.
So all you need to do is to ground that, and it's going to go to number 6. Okay, so...
Crew Chief Tom Dygert and Operations Coordinator Brian Norris know every rivet and screw.
My joke last year was I was just going to let Sean fly it, and it was now my airplane since I helped put it back together.
Yeah, he says he's running a little bit lean in the back 2 holes, though, so we probably ought to richen them up and let him take it out and fly it before he goes home.
Right before air show season began, Sean took the plane to Visalia, California for a final engine inspection by Lycon.
I got all their experts there, and just to make sure that it's okay for me to go ahead and get on down the air show road.
They inspect the cylinders with borescopes. The key to this souped-up engine is so secret, not even Sean knows how much horsepower it puts out.
They won't tell me either. And there's a lot. It's well over 350 horsepower.
Final engine inspection means one thing.
You look great, Tara.
It's time to leave family behind for a life on the road. Sean's wife of 17 years, Colleen, joins him in watching 9-year-old daughter Tara ride her horse. With 32 air shows this year, they'll have precious little time together in the coming months.
She says she likes her dad being an air show pilot because she knows how much I love it. And I think what they see by my commitment to have this level of excellence and this incredible love for something, that they need to, it's a good idea that maybe they find something in their life that is just as important to them. You did good.
12-year-old Eric Tucker is joining his dad on the air show circuit this year in the role of announcer.
The crowd loves it because this is family entertainment. Here's his, now he's a 12-year-old kid out there talking about his dad dancing in the sky.
I think the best air show pilot in the world, my friend Sean D. Tucker.
Sean is also training the next generation of aerobatic air show pilots.
The best can die in this business, and that's why we're here today, is talk about it, share our knowledge, so we don't let that happen to us.
This safety seminar near Esparto, California last March drew hundreds who came to learn from Sean. He's had to bail out of 2 airplanes over the years. One when he got caught in an inverted flat spin and had to cut his way out of the safety belt.
How do you recover? Come off the power, let go of the stick.
And just to prove it can be done, he takes to the sky over the rippling fields of oat grass.
He wants to have people on their feet, scratching their head, trying to figure out how he does that.
I'm a nut. I'm a nut. I get up in the sky, and I want to communicate with the sky, with the airplane. And I want to be different.
As she watches on, the woman who first taught Sean aerobatics thinks back to his first lesson.
He was just so exuberant, just jumping up and down and just get up in there and says, I'm just trying something new. I'm always trying something new. He was always playing with the airplane, trying to do new and different things. I love that about Sean because it's just his exuberance.
Gee, and I wonder where he gets it.
So I'm just super proud of him.
Now it's time to sit back and strap yourself in. Flying for the crowds here at the show and for you at home is Sean D. Tucker.
Need your gloves.
And as we prepare for Sean Tucker, Bob?
Well, today we're going to let Sean's son, Eric, do the show. Eric, welcome back to the announcer's stand today. Good to have you with us. The 1-800 Collect Challenger, is he out there yet? I don't see him.
Now, what you'll see right about now, what he usually calls the double hammerhead, but for this air show, he's added a little twist. He'd like to call it the Sean D. Tucker Shuffle. There's one, and there's two. Let's hear it for Sean Tucker and the double hammerhead for the Sean D. Tucker Shuffle. Mr. Charlie Hillard pulled this maneuver out of the hat, the torque roll, in the 1978 World Championships to win it for the first time for the U.S. This is my dad's version of the torque roll. He'll pull the nose up, roll the airplane until airspeeds come to zero. Then without ailerons, the torque of the engine will turn the airplane around and around and around, building up speeds up to 100 miles an hour backwards. Let's hear it from my dad and the torque roll in the beautiful 1-800 Collect Challenger. Now look high and to your left. This is what you've all been waiting for, the triple ribbon cut. Now diving out at 250 miles an hour. He'll roll the airplane into right knife edge position. There he is in right knife edge position. Through ribbon number 1 into left knife edge position. Through ribbon number 2 into inverted. 1, 2, 3. The Sean D. Tucker triple ribbon cut. Let's hear from my dad. Woo! In Boston, just 1 month ago, a police officer clocked my dad with a radar gun at 15 miles an hour. That is 55 miles an hour slower than the published stall speed of this aircraft. Let's hear one last time for my dad, the amazing Sean D. Tucker.
Now that's fun. I like doing that.
The inner workings behind the power that keeps today's sophisticated jet fighters aloft are complicated, to say the least.
But the principle behind jet propulsion is really child's play. Lars Larson will explain.
I'm going to break high and right and see if he's really alone.
Jet warplanes have become big stars these days, from the movies
You've got MiG-1. I'm going after MiG-2.
to the real-life battlefields of the Persian Gulf and Bosnia. But the credit usually goes to the guy in the front seat.
Your tail is clear. MiG-1's bugged out.
And very little to the equipment just in back of him that does all the hard work. The F-15 Fighting Eagle, the newest of the U.S. Air Force air superiority jet fighters. Powered by the F-100 Pratt & Whitney engine. This engine has logged more than 11 million flight hours in warplanes around the world. It weighs just over 3,700 pounds, but it can kick 37,000 pounds of thrust out of the back of a fighter jet. Despite their amazing capabilities, the people who work on jet engines say,
It's very simple. The air goes into the intake. It's introduced into the fan of the engine.
Oregon National Guard Master Sergeant Mary Johnson has been working on fighter jet engines for more than a decade. A lot of the parts seem not much different than the parts in the car that sits in your driveway.
This is the oil tank right here, the starting system. That's an alternator. This is an oil pump.
Ground crews say all an engine really does is suck up air and fuel, burn the mixture, and blow it out the back. But at the same time,
this jet engine is very complicated.
Because how all of that happens takes precision engineering.
First of all, the air has to be cut down because the engine cannot ingest as much air as it would under normal circumstances.
Sitting on the runway, the jet must pull in air to burn. But flying through the air at hundreds of miles an hour can shove in more air than an engine can handle. Once inside the jet, hundreds of rotating fan blades compress the air again and again. By the time it's ready to mix with fuel, it's been squeezed from normal sea level pressure of 14 pounds to more than 400 pounds per square inch.
At this point, in what we call the core of the engine, 16 fuel nozzles inject fuel, and this is the combustion can where it is ignited.
We've told you how the engine itself works, but that's not the end of it, because sometimes a pilot needs a little bit of extra kick on takeoff, to catch up with someone, or to get away from someone. They used to call them afterburners, but now they call them augmenters.
There's 5 stages of augmentation. It can give the aircraft much more thrust.
At the very back of an engine sit 5 so-called manifolds. When the pilot feels the need for speed, he turns them on, and the Pratt & Whitney's normal output of 17,000 pounds of thrust soars to just over 29,000.
These engines that take the jet supersonic take a lot more abuse than that of airline planes, engines.
The ground crews of the Oregon Air National Guard keep the F-15 Eagle and the F-100 engine that pushes it through the air in fighting form.
Don't touch that remote control. There's a lot more action coming up.
That's right, Rod. I'll take you aboard a common sight here in the Northwest, a seaplane.
And then join me as we visit the country's most prestigious flying event, the Reno Air Races.
I bought my car new in 1970. I drove a hockey team 190-mile round trip 3 times a week.
Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
I took good care of it. And when I reached 300,000, I thought, I've got to be a pretty good car.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer.
Secret to long life is regular maintenance for me and my car.
Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
Them Taco Bell tacos, rock the beach, 59, 79, 99 cents each. Crunch so big, price so low, so eat Taco Bell tacos. This is Pete. Wake up, Pete! While you asleep, let's go to Taco Bell. They're open 24 hours. You should be jumping, snapping your jammies. Cross the border.
With its legendary reputation for quality and rugged good looks, we thought the Toyota 4Runner's extra value package might go unnoticed. So we put a twist on it. You get chrome bumpers, leather seats and trim, air conditioning, power windows, door locks, mirrors, and more for a savings of up to $1,000. Nice catch.
Smith's Home Furnishings' 48th anniversary sale is going on now.
You'll find sensational low anniversary sale prices in every department.
Furniture, appliances, mattresses, oriental rugs, computers, audio, video, and cellular phones.
And right now, you can buy with no cash until $19.95.
That's no down payment, no monthly payments, and no interest till $19.95.
A sale so big, it only happens once a year.
Smith's Home Furnishings' 48th anniversary sale.
Now you can own a piece of the magic. Meet the stars and relive the highlights of the Portland Rose Festival Airshow on VHS cassettes. Get this year's show for only $19.95 or buy any of the previous 5 shows for only $17.95 each. Send your check or money order to Magic, Post Office Box 3401, Portland, Oregon 97208. Be part of the magic and order yours today.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming from the north, the 2 A-10 Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolt, also known as the Warthog, and I'm told also known as the Road Ripper, has an astounding high-velocity cannon in the front nose of the aircraft, capable of firing 4,200 rounds per minute. And in the Gulf War, it was known as the Road Ripper because it could go through and tear up a highway in a matter of moments with that high-powered cannon in the front.
All right, F-15s from the Oregon Air National Guard. If you will cast your eyes off to the left, you will see 3 more aircraft heading in, and these should be the F-16s from the 114th Fighter Squadron at Klamath Falls. You look to your left, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the F-111s. And those aircraft, of course, in the supersonic fighter / bomber category.
Coming in from the north, to your left, the F-117 Stealth Fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, the F-117 Stealth Fighter, with a gross weight of about 52,000 pounds, high supersonic speeds, and unlimited air refueling capabilities. It has a crew of only 1, an internal weapons carriage that carries its armaments.
On a high-speed pass at over 600 miles per hour from the Canadian Armed Forces 419 Tactical Fighter Training Squadron at Canadian Forces Base Cold Lake, Alberta, Captain Ron Vandervoort in the CF-5 Freedom Fighter.
If you have small children or you are sensitive in hearing, you must realize that the next aircraft coming in are extremely loud. They are called the Harriers. They are U.S. Marine Corps aircraft used for low flights and virtually can hover and fly backwards. One incredible aircraft. Believe it or not, that Pegasus engine is developing 21,500 pounds of thrust. That would be the equivalent of 30,000 horsepower. That is the way it is able to do what it does.
The Reno air races have been attracting the world's finest pilots and their planes for 30 years now. We went to the gambling mecca to find out what lures so many aviation buffs to this event. Reno, Nevada is a fast city. Fortunes are made and lost at the casinos in the blink of an eye. Couples can find a pastor for a quickie wedding faster than you can say, I do. And every year for the past 30 years, Reno has hosted some of the fastest planes in the sky. For 4 days each September, the world-famous Reno air races are held at Reno Stead Airport just north of the city. Over 150,000 people come to catch a glimpse of greatness as some of the world's most famous pilots and their planes take part. Lefty Gardner and his P-38 Lightning danced through the skies. Joanne Osterud thrilled the crowds with her special brand of aerobatic flying. And one of the stars of last year's Rose Festival Airshow, Elliot Cross.
One thing that distinguishes Reno from other shows are the exciting air races. Each day, 4 classes of airplanes take part in 9 closed-course pylon races. Formula One, home-built aircraft. Sporty 2-winged biplanes. Always one of the crowd's favorites, the AT-6 World War II trainer. And the true speed demons of the show, the unlimited class. These high-powered racers attract the majority of the crowds to Reno. All along the pit row, you'll find people gathered around planes like Strega, the red and white P-51, piloted by 2-time champion Bill DeStefani. Strega is the defending champion in the unlimited class, winning with a speed of just over 450 miles per hour. Oregon is represented in this class by Klamath Falls native Bob Yancey. He flies a converted Russian trainer with a Pratt & Whitney engine called the Yak 101. He's been racing in Reno for 12 years now and still can't tell you why he makes the annual trip.
Sometimes I wonder why we even come down here, but we've gotten to know everybody down here, and it's basically our vacation every year. Climb out of the spray planes and come down and go racing for a vacation. Now, can you believe that? Huh?
Crowds that attend the races can either watch the action from the grandstands or
Tammy and I worked all morning on this.
Yeah, it looks just like the Colonel's, too. I don't know why.
join the spectators who choose to camp near the airport. Every year, thousands opt to rough it in trailers and motorhomes parked nearby. They feel that their locale gives them a unique perspective on the action.
It's very, very kick back, and you meet a lot of different people from all over the place, different states. They come a long ways to watch this, and they do this on an annual basis as well.
We share a common interest, air race fans. It seems like the people next to you that you even know them, they're just like friends. You could borrow a cup of sugar or whatever you need.
Occasionally, the proximity of the campers to the action can make even simple conversation impossible.
The reason I come here to the air races is because of the excitement and the technicalities.
Thank you very much for your time.
No matter where you decide to watch from, the Reno air races are something that every aviation lover should experience at least once in their life.
The Hillsborough Airport is home to many unusual craft, including this turbine-powered Grumman Goose owned by Dan Bollum of Aero Air. Now, this is not just an airplane. It's really a flying boat, an amphibious craft capable of landing on either land or water.
On a beautiful summer day, the skyscrapers of Portland shimmer below. Dan Bollum brings his Grumman Goose over downtown to join up with 2 other members of the Columbia Seaplane Pilots Association for a day of fun. In this city of rivers, alive with every type of watercraft, people still stop and stare as seaplanes come into dock in the heart of downtown.
Hi. Morning. Heck of a way to get around.
There are some 600 seaplane pilots in Oregon and about 3,000 in Washington, and each has to have a special license or rating to fly. The president of the Columbia Seaplane Association, Dave Wiley, is a certified instructor teaching would-be seaplane pilots from across the country.
You have to design your own airport every time you decide to land, so we go really back to the basics with our training.
That includes lessons in hand propping, lessons in wind shear and water currents, because the real beauty of flying one of these is the ability to escape civilization.
All right, bye-bye.
There's nobody to help you there. There's nobody to tell you what to do, where to go, how to get along. So you take everything with you because you never know what you will need.
So when Dan takes off, He loads up with
kids and dogs and coolers and tents and motors and boats and you name it.
the Turbine Goose can carry over 5,000 pounds of payload. It can go 200 miles per hour for 7 or 8 hours, and because the Northwest is blessed with thousands of miles of river and seemingly endless sandy beaches, it's the perfect escape.
At heavy weights, if we're hauling a lot of people or cargo, I'll land a little over 100 miles an hour on the water.
The Cessna 172 and the 1941 Taylorcraft on floats will travel considerably slower because the floats themselves may decrease airspeed up to 10%. The floatplanes also have far less range, but they can outperform the Goose in other ways.
Floatplanes are by and large much easier to handle on the water.
And they can be pulled right up on the beach, which is where we left this intrepid crew of bush pilots, barefoot in the warm sand, savoring a picnic lunch seaplane style.
Coming up on Magic in the Air 94, I'll introduce you to the people who control the airspace over Portland's busy airport.
And we'll travel to Las Vegas, Nevada to meet the headliners of this year's show, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds.
A somber tribute becomes a disaster.
Where is the body?
On an all-new Babylon 5.
Wednesday night at 8 on KPTV 12.
If you want a truck built in the USA and loaded with options, you've got options. If you want sports stripes, chrome package, jump seats with 3-point seat belts, AM, FM radio, split bench, sliding rear window, and more, for savings up to $850, you've got options. But if you want all that, plus the truck line with a legendary reputation for quality, you've got no options. Toyota trucks, you just gotta love them.
I bought my car.
Portland Formula 3 from Texaco.
I took good care of it. And when I reached 300,000, I thought, I've got to be a pretty good car.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer.
Secret to long life is regular maintenance for me and my car.
Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
Control is everything. Once you got it, everything else just falls in place. That's why I use this stuff, Pert Plus.
One smart shampoo, control-enhancing conditioners for hair that's easy to handle.
It just works. My hair does what I want. That's enough for me.
Pert Plus.
No fuss.
When you're using lots of tissues, are they soft enough?
No, never.
Really blowing a lot. That's why you get a raw nose. It's really sore right around the edge.
That's why there's Ultra Soft Puffs.
Wow, it's really soft.
Very velvety.
You see, puffs are puffed for softness that really adds up. Softness that 4 out of 5 people prefer.
Nobody uses one tissue. I could go like this, and I didn't have any rawness.
Puffs does not offend your nose.
I'm going to change to Puffs.
Ultra Soft Puffs. Softest on your nose through all the blows.
This morning my nose said thank you.
Magic in the Air will be right back with more exciting action. Take a ride on an F-16 with the Thunderbirds. Bud Granley will fly his Russian Yak. Glider pilot Manfred Radius takes us soaring. And an exciting duel in the skies overhead. So stay tuned.
Critics everywhere believe in angels.
Holy cow!
They're calling Disney's Angels in the Outfield enormously entertaining and blissfully funny. It's a comedic field of dreams, 4 stars, and a home run every step of the way. That Gene Shalit calls a super comedy and a flat-out wonderful movie. Disney's Angels in the Outfield.
Accept no substitutes.
Rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you.
Remember when battery installation was simple? Well, times have changed. Now many cars require special equipment to diagnose battery problems. Special tools are needed for proper installation. Recommendation, come to Les Schwab. We take pride in doing things right and complete. It's why we clean and inspect your cables first, then install your battery. Backed in writing with the Les Schwab warranty. When it's time for your next battery, come to Les Schwab. We install them free.
For over 40 years, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds have been thrilling audiences around the world with their tight formations and precision maneuvers. I had a chance to meet these famed flyers at their home base.
The desert Southwest. At times a barren, lifeless landscape. This stark terrain still holds many Indian myths in its painted mountains, stories of a deity that could make lightning and thunder crackle and flash from the heavens. This god lived in the sky, controlling the forces of good over evil. Resembling man, hawk, and eagle, the Thunderbird ruled over his domain from above. Today, the skies over the desert near Las Vegas, Nevada, are filled with the roar of engines of the F-16s flown by the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. The aerial performance team was formed in 1953 and has played to millions around the world in the 41 years since. The Thunderbirds moved from Phoenix in 1956 and now call Nellis Air Force Base home. The Ambassadors in Blue, a team of 8 highly skilled fighter pilots and a support staff of nearly 140, are led by Lieutenant Colonel Steve Anderson. He says that the group's main job isn't entertainment, but recruiting.
Our primary mission is to take the Air Force to John Q. Public and let him out there to see what his tax dollars are buying and paying for. We're out there demonstrating the performance capabilities and precision flying abilities of your typical Air Force member. A major part of our job is to help the recruiting offices to recruit new people into the Air Force.
During their 40-plus years of performing, the team has flown a variety of fighter planes. From the F-84 to the T-38 to today's sleek F-16 Fighting Falcon, the Thunderbirds have always flown the frontline fighter of the day. The F-16C, capable of speeds of over Mach 2, has been the Thunderbirds' plane of choice since 1992. According to the men who fly them, the F-16C is a joy to pilot.
Oh, it's just tremendous. I mean, it really is a pilot's dream. The thing is so responsive, and it's the one airplane that you can get into, and you really feel like you're strapping it on to you versus you just climbing into the cockpit.
Each member of the Thunderbirds is selected from the rank and file of the Air Force, volunteering for a 2-year stint. The 2-year limit was imposed due to the hardships it created for families.
Ready to get a hit? Okay. Oh.
Major Jimmy Venkel flies the slot position for the Thunderbirds. During the performance season, he's on the road about 200 days a year.
It takes incredible strength from the wives, and so we're very proud of my wife and my family, and I know the other guys feel the same way because they're holding down the fort at home while we're out and having really a lot of fun.
We do crazy things together to keep us laughing, but there's a lot of hard times. Thursday's hard for this one in particular. He understands, and that's when they usually leave. And Thursday, the phones are crazy around here with the wives calling each other. It's just a hello or a, how you doing? And I still get choked up a little because I know it's coming again.
The kinship amongst the wives is typical of the family mood one feels after being near the Thunderbirds for a short time. The bond between pilots and maintenance crews is an especially strong one.
We have, on each airplane, we have a dedicated crew chief, and we have an assistant crew chief. And those guys, geez, they just about marry that jet for the year that they have it. There's a big safety aspect as well that's involved there. We really have to give them a lot of our trust, because when we march out to the airplane, we don't check it out. We don't do a normal walk around, which any normal pilot would tell you they do. We trust them thoroughly to do their job, and therefore we don't feel that we have to do that.
Each pilot has years of experience flying fighter planes. But formation flying is very different from solo. Flying just a few feet away from another jet at over 400 miles per hour requires a level of concentration that most of us can't begin to imagine. I was able to experience firsthand the thrill of piloting an F-16, and I'll take you along in the second part of my visit with the Thunderbirds.
We're in one of the chalets here at the Rose Festival Airshow, meeting two of the wives of the Thunderbird pilots. This is
Mary Anderson, and my husband is Steve Anderson, who is Thunderbird lead. And I'm Jola Major. My husband is Mike Major, the logistics officer.
It must be a thrill to travel with your husbands when you get a chance to like this.
It is. It's very thrilling.
What brought you up here?
I came because my best friend is from Oregon, and she has raved about it. I had to come see for myself.
Well, thank you, ladies, for being with us, and we hope you enjoy your stay. All right.
Hi, Elaine.
Elaine.
With the air show spanning 3 days, many of these planes will tie down here at the Hillsborough Airport for the night, but some, especially the military planes, will stay at the Portland International Airport. Getting them to show center on time is coordinated by the men and women who control the Portland airspace.
Empire 45, traffic 12 o'clock, 4 miles northwestbound, altitude unknown.
In a darkened room at Portland International Airport, a row of men and women speak quietly into headsets, their faces illuminated by the glow of radar screens.
Empire 45, turn right, heading 110.
This is TRACON, the nerve center controlling the airspace around Portland.
We go out about 35 miles and up to 13,000 feet.
It takes a highway of wires running to a room full of computers to decipher all the information.
Our computer talks to the computer or the piece of equipment in the aircraft, relays information back and forth, so we're able to, as you saw, see the aircraft call sign, the altitude, the airspeed.
And air traffic controllers have their own language, or phraseology as they call it. Yes is affirmative, no negative.
West 214, maintain 2,500, maintain 2,500, until established on the localizer, maintain 2,500 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 28 right approach, cleared ILS runway 28 right approach, cleared ILS runway 28 right approach, cleared ILS runway 28 right approach. The phraseology that you use, you say over and over and over again every day, and so it just rolls. United 117 Heavy, Portland approach, roger.
Reading Airport, takeoff 145.
And when the plane gets within 5 miles of the airport, control shifts to Portland Tower air controllers.
Delta 1063 Heavy, Portland Tower, roger, cleared to land. Wind 190 at 12.
We have the radar like they do downstairs in approach control, but yet we're also required to look out the window and make sure everything's happening the way we want it to. Okay, I think I've got it. Okay. Which way's north?
One person controls the airspace and the runways. Another issues clearances for aircraft to fly a certain heading and altitude towards their destination. A third controls traffic on the ground.
There's always something going on behind you, so you've really got to have your head on a swivel.
And come air show time, that's especially true when air traffic controllers juggle the airspace in an attempt to get commercial flights off and air show stars to show center, and all on time. When we return, join Rod as he takes to the skies with the Thunderbirds.
And we'll show you how some people enjoy the air show in luxurious surroundings, while others...
There's one thing that a racing engine and a straight engine have in common. You want them both to last.
Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
To build a race engine that holds up, you have to use the best of everything, and Haviland does that job.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer. Good enough for Robert Yates.
Well, how hard do you want me to push it today? Whatever it takes to win.
Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
If you were to take every article, every review, every honor, every award, everything positive people have had to say about the Toyota Camry and put it on a wall, you'd need a very big wall. And now there's the new 1994 Toyota Camry with dual airbags, a new V6, and built in America. Imagine the wall we're going to need for that.
This is North.
the world's most perfect kid.
North always looks both ways.
North never spoils his appetite.
North flosses. Everybody appreciated him except his own parents. So he set off to find the perfect parents.
Howdy, North. Here you go, North.
Hello, North.
Where's our son?
North?
North.
North.
North! See your name on maps. Very impressive.
North, a new comedy from Rob Reiner. Rated PG. At theaters Friday.
The Lute Snyder Company proudly introduces Lute's Line, the home shopping tool you can call 24 hours a day from any touch-tone phone. Look for Lute's Line logos in our buyer's guide, newspaper ads, TV home show, and on yard signs all over town. Then call 737-2334 in Washington or 639-2334 in Oregon and enter the home 6-digit code. You can get a complete description of the home, plus open house and monthly mortgage information. The Lute's Line, another Lute Snyder Company advantage.
Lieutenant Commander Steve Burris and Lieutenant Greg Anderson bringing in these two F-18s from VFA 125, Lemoore, California. In my first report on the Thunderbirds, I showed you how this world-class formation unit operates as a team. Now you can join me as I strap myself in an F-16 for the ride of a lifetime. To the casual observer, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds make their airborne demonstration look easy, soaring through the skies within what seems like inches of each other. I was invited by the Thunderbirds to see firsthand what flying in an F-16 was all about.
Basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be fitting you up with all your equipment to not only make it safe for you in the cockpit environment, but also get you out of the aircraft if something happened.
Over the next 2 hours, Staff Sergeant Mike Leitner prepared me for my ride in the F-16.
Is it supposed to be pretty tight?
Yeah, it should be. You should not be able to stand up comfortably.
Okay, I can't.
How you feeling?
Once the equipment phase of instruction was over, it was time to meet the man who would be taking me skyward, Captain J.K. Switzer.
Trust me, this is going to be the ride of your life. I know you've had a lot of fun ones in the past, but this one will certainly top off the cake, and it'll be tough to do better than what we're going to do today.
In addition to being a top-notch pilot, Captain Switzer is the voice of the Thunderbirds, doing the narration for their performances. During a short pre-flight meeting, he explained how the G-suit would work, what kind of maneuvers we would be going through, and generally what to expect once we got into the plane.
When the time comes, I'm going to say, sir, you ready to go? Stand by the pull. Here comes the pull. And I'll go very smoothly into 4Gs. I'm not going to go to 7 or anything like that. I don't want to hurt you. Very smoothly into 4Gs, and you and I are going to take an elevator ride 2 miles straight up, and we'll be there before you know it.
How you feel?
Strapped in.
Okay, good. Like I said, if you feel very comfortable right now, we didn't do something right. And from the looks of it, we've got you all squared away.
Captain Switzer went on to show me a few things that I shouldn't touch, like the controls for the ejection seat. Once that was clear...
Let's go fly, sir.
All right.
All righty.
The moment was at hand. Being in the F-16 with its engine roaring feels like you're sitting on a volcano ready to erupt.
Sir, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Ready to go?
Stand by the pull. Here comes the pull. Let's go fly.
3, copy.
Venom 3, copy, switch 7.
And we are straight up, sir. Look behind you.
Yep.
Departure control, Thunderbird 8's with you, leveling off at 10,500.
The ride up to over 10,000 feet took about 10 seconds, pulling around 5 Gs. Now it was my turn to fly.
Roll and pull a little bit tighter so we can stay in airspace. There you go. Pull a little bit tighter. There you go.
There's a kind of a small window here, huh?
Yes, sir. Now you're pulling. You're almost in a 60-degree bank level turn, and as you know, 60 degrees is level turn is a 2G pull. So you have to pull a little bit harder. There you go. Looking good. Keep the pull going. There you go. You're in control.
Before I knew it, it was time for our ride to end. I'll never forget my ride or the time that I spent with the Thunderbirds. Their dedication and patriotic attitude are something that all Americans can be proud of.
Rod, you lucky dog, that looked like fun.
You know, flying in that Thunderbird's like getting shot in a rocket to the moon. Glad we didn't get all the way up there, but it was fantastic.
I bet it was. And while most of our viewers will never have an opportunity to ride with them, we have a chance right now to watch one of the premier formation teams, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. Rose Festival Airshow offers spectators a variety of venues to watch the action above. Lars Larson and Ken Ackerman join forces to show us how varied those options are.
You know, there's nothing like finding your own special spot to enjoy this U.S. Bank Rose Festival Airshow. Who says you have to go inside to enjoy all the fun?
The other side of the fencers have one thing in common. They're watching all the action for...
Nothing.
Not a dime.
Zero.
It's free.
You have comfortable seats to sit in. Those people inside have those wooden hard chairs, and it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, we have air conditioning, too.
Of course, there are drawbacks to certain spots.
A lot of flies around here, huh? Yeah. Picked a nice dirt mound.
20 special tents line Chalet Row. To get in, you need a special pass. But inside, you'll find flowers, umbrellas, even monogrammed glasses and hats. And complimentary earplugs for those low-level runs.
For $85, you get VIP parking privileges. You get front row seating, absolute show center. You get continental breakfast, very upscale lunch, bar service all day long. Performers come in and talk to you. You name it, you got it. It's the best of everything when you come to the air show.
You can meet real pilots and take their pictures with complimentary cameras. Not only do the chalets cost just a little bit more than staying outside the gate, but after all, in here you have to eat what they feed you. Outside, you get to pack your own lunch. Right, Ken?
Sure, Lars, you can pay top dollar to please your palate, but why?
Swiss cheese, cheddar cheese, turkey.
This stuff is prime. It came right out 7-Eleven about an hour ago.
And the pizza?
The pizza is about an hour old also.
All right, no Chateaubriand out here, but try to find these treats in a chalet.
Oh, fine stuff.
Well, yeah, you know. Some roast beef?
Yeah, just right on there.
You just can't beat chalet food or the chef that serves it.
Well, we have a roast beef and a turkey roast, and we have assorted salads over there. So I guess it's great. Everybody like it.
And you can wash it down with your choice of drinks.
Bloody Marys, gin and tonic, bourbon and soda, you name it.
With food taking a close second, the number one reason the cheapskates choose not to pay to get in the gates is, well, the view from here.
Is that an F-16 or a helicopter from here?
It's a helicopter, buddy.
I could just see power lines.
Yeah, well, actually, when I take pictures, I walk down the street there so I don't get power lines in it. But normally, they're right about there when they're going by.
No need for binocs up here.
This is a neighborhood of roof watchers.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I come over with my kids every year.
You let the kids on the roof, too?
Oh, hell yes. You bet.
Forget about safety when there's an air show going on.
Hey, we don't care. We're out here to have fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Lars, the only way to beat the view from the roof is to get 80 feet above it all.
Does the boss know you're using the truck?
Oh, yeah. Every year.
And how much does he charge you for this?
Nothing.
So what do you pay to watch the air show?
Nothing.
It's free.
Free.
See, Lars, to get the full effect of the inverted double twist spin, you need to be on a roof.
Pay for the right kind of ticket and you can get the best seats in the house. If you like what you see here, you can sponsor a chalet of your own for 100 or so of your friends. Prices start at $5,000 a day.
Coming up next, you'll meet aerobatic pilot Bud Granley, who flies the amazing Yak from Russia.
And Ken Ackerman ponders the question, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a gyrocopter.
Premier Story got the bag, the airline tags, and the lip readers. Truth on tape on Premier Story.
Monday night at 11:30 on KPTV 12.
Them Taco Bell tacos, rock the beach, 59, 79, 99 cents each. Crunch so big, price so low, so eat Taco Bell tacos.
This is Pete.
Wake up, Pete!
While you asleep, let's go to Taco Bell. They're open 24 hours.
You should be jumping, not in your jammies. Cross the border.
There are a couple of very good reasons to buy a Ford Ranger instead of a Toyota SR5. For starters, Ranger is the #1 selling compact truck in America. Priced $2,000 less than a comparably equipped Toyota, the Ford Ranger comes with a much more impressive hood ornament. Buy one today at your local Northwest Ford dealer.
You can follow your recipe to the letter, but for the crispiest, juiciest chicken, you need a really great oil. That is why I only use Crisco. You can trust Crisco to get chicken crispy outside, juicy inside, every time. The taste is so light, never heavy, never oily. And you know Crisco is 100% pure vegetable oil. To be sure your chicken is crispy, make sure your oil is Crisco.
Remember when battery installation was simple? Well, times have changed. Now many cars require special equipment to diagnose battery problems. Special tools are needed for proper installation. Recommendation, come to Les Schwab. We take pride in doing things right and complete. It's why we clean and inspect your cables first, then install your battery. Backed in writing with the Les Schwab warranty. When it's time for your next battery, come to Les Schwab. We install them free.
Bud Granley is one of the few performers who's making a return trip to the Rose Festival Airshow. Every time he comes to town, though, it seems like he's flying a different plane. This time, it's the Russian-made Yak.
To the casual observer, Bud Granley may look like a man who has nothing but time on his hands. But really nothing could be farther from the truth. Bud's job, flying the Far East route as a captain for United Airlines, keeps him busy visiting cities like Tokyo, Seoul, and Bangkok. Away from the friendly skies, he enjoys spending time with his 10-year-old daughter, Stacy, who keeps Bud young with rollerblades and bicycles. When he's not wheeling around the neighborhood, you'll find Bud at Payne Field, just north of Seattle. One of Bud's favorite retreats is the restoration facility of the Seattle Museum of Flying. Here, an army of volunteers work their magic on these relics of the airways, bringing them back to life.
I guess the way the DC-3 was developed is because United didn't, or some of the other airlines didn't want anybody else to have this airplane.
Boeing refused to sell them to TWA.
So they had to build another airplane, so they built the DC-3, which sort of messed them up.
Payne Field is also the home of Bud's Air Force. There's the T-6, the plane Bud learned to fly in over 35 years ago.
It's an expensive airplane to practice in, but I was in the environment where I could learn that, because the Air Force made me a demonstration pilot in T-6, so I had a license to go out and fly low level and practice and things like that, so where everybody else would go to jail for it, I was allowed to do it, see.
Another plane in Bud's armada is the Fuga jet. The Fuga is the French trainer that Bud flew the last time he performed in Portland's show. Now we come to the Russian connection. This is a Yak. The Russians developed it in 1981 specifically to win the World Aerobatic Championship, which it did 4 times. On this day, Bud's oldest daughter, Debbie, took the Yak up for her license exam and passed with flying colors.
Good for you.
I know.
Oh, was that good?
Flying is a tradition in the Granley family. Bud's sons are all pilots, 2 of them flying with the Canadian Snowbirds. Now Debbie can add her name to the list of flying Granleys. Bud first saw the Yak last year at an air show and felt that he just had to fly.
Yak, you know, it's a nice airplane. It does things very nicely. But it does things at such a speed that it never has to build up a lot of energy, so it's always ready to go.
In addition to the Yak 52, Bud also owns a Yak 55, which he stores in Hillsboro. He and David Lewis formed a partnership in which they import Yaks to this country from Russia. The planes are taken apart and shipped in houses, or at least they seem that big.
They arrive in Seattle or Portland and you haul them out and put them together. They're basically you put them together in a day and go fly them. It's a new engine, so what we've done is we put first load of oil in, we got the plugs out, and now we're going to pre-lube it real good, get some oil pressure before we start it. Make sure there's lots of oil in the cylinders. And when we start it for the first time, it should be well lubed.
Once he's airborne, Bud is able to demonstrate why he prefers flying the Yak for crowds.
It's a great airshow airplane because it just crawls around and does things very slowly and kind of looks like a model airplane in the sky. And just runs you ragged, because as soon as you finish one maneuver, you're ready for another one. So you're very, very busy all the time. So 7 or 8 minutes is about all I can do, and I'm just wrung out, and I got rubber legs when I come down.
As I mentioned earlier, the entire Granley clan seems to have been bitten by the aviation bug. Everyone, that is, except Bud's wife, Carol.
Carol, that's not a very big help in the airplane. She won't even hold a stick while I try to read the map. I can claim complete ineptitude in the front, and I can't do anything. I'm going to drop the map. She got to hold the stick, and she will not hold the stick. She will not. There's only 4 little things you can do with a stick, and she won't do it.
There's an old theory. Once you start taking over a job, it now becomes yours. And there's nothing he would like better than to sit in the back seat with a book in his hand on a long cross country and let somebody else do the flying.
And now flying his Russian Yak 55 with its shiny new red paint job is airshow pilot extraordinaire Bud Granley.
And we understand that he has been cleared for takeoff, and yes, he has. Here he goes, Bud Granley in the Yak 55, the beautiful red Russian aircraft. And notice how quiet this airplane is. Bud pulls back, nose comes up. And once again, he'll go straight up, and eventually that airplane won't fly any higher, but nothing happens. It just hangs there in another hover. You see the rudder, as he's got everything working up there to hold it, finally it just starts to sink down. They call that a slide to a hover. Not a climb, a slide. Look at the airplane now as it comes out of a half Cuban, and Bud starts to, again, unwind the airplane as he goes through a maneuver called the triple Budster. Notice how this airplane, which is quite powerful, doesn't sound powerful at all, but it's got an incredible engine in it, and the way it's built allows it to do some things that a lot of aerobatic airplanes just won't do. Here comes the airspeed. Bud starts to climb the airplane. Again, just throws it out of control. Now pulling back on the stick with lots of power out of that dive, starts to rotate the airplane. Again, it's going to fly vertically for a while, but it won't go forever. There it is. It's going to hang it on the prop. There's a real good picture of a torque roll. There's an airplane that's turned into a helicopter. Look at it hanging up there in the torque roll, torquing on the power of the engine. Here's the ratchet. They call this the ratchet wrench roll because what you do is you do a 90-degree turn in and a 45-degree turn back, just like a ratchet wrench in a tool kit. 90 degrees in, 45 back, the ratchet wrench. Bud climbing again, throwing the airplane out of control into another Lumshavak, done this in a different manner. They call this the wild thing. And he holds the airplane inverted out of that maneuver. Now Bud going into one of his 360-degree turns, and watch this one, a tight 360-degree turn, and that is tight. Pilot of many airplanes, Bud Granley. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you give him a wave there in that beautiful Yak 55 Russian-built aircraft. And boy, it does a few things, doesn't it, up there?
Ever since Jim Bannock was a kid, he and his father would go flying, but not in your standard airplane. Jim and his dad took to the skies in an unusual-looking craft called the gyrocopter.
Some of you may remember back to last year's air show when a little bit of rain dampened the first day's fun. Nobody was up in the air. Nobody, that is, except for Jim Bannock. The question on most people's minds was, what was this guy flying?
Freewheeling rotor system, a freewheeling wing, and there's no power to it. As you'll see, I'll turn the engine off, I glide in and land without power.
The Sportcraft gyrocopter isn't a new concept in flying. In fact, Jim's dad helped pioneer the aircraft way back in the 50s.
He did it as a hobby and developed machines, and I grew up with it, just learning and designing, and he was always over my shoulder helping me what to do. And then I always worked with my dad on aircraft. We always were dabbling with gyros since I was 9 years old. I've been flying with him. This is back 1970, right there. I'm a little guy there in the back seat.
From his beginnings as a backseat driver, Jim would pay his dues over the years. Educated as a nuclear pump mechanic, Jim gained the experience and background needed to make this circle back to his family's passion, flying.
Clear prop.
The gyrocopter utilizes an engine for forward thrust. However, unlike a helicopter, the rotors are not powered. What this means is that in the unlikely event of engine failure, the gyrocopter won't just fall out of the sky.
Okay, my engine's off, and I'm coming down about 500 feet a minute right now.
It just can't fall out of the sky, can it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Now explain what happens. The engine shuts off. What
Okay.
happens where you just can't fall out of the sky?
Well, the engine is just pushing you along and holding you in the air just like the wings of an airplane. Same thing. You turn the engine off in a plane, it doesn't fall to the ground, it glides down. Same with this. The air is powering the rotors so that when you turn the engine off, you just glide in and land. And you maintain 40 miles an hour and you get near the ground, you can pull back on the stick, flare, and come to complete stop. No roll on touchdown.
The price of a sportcopter is also a spiral down from a conventional helicopter. They start at $8,000, and depending on how they're equipped, you can pay $25,000 for a two-seater with all the options.
It's a kit, everything is there, and it just bolts together.
Simple household tools.
Just about, yeah. Ratchet wrenches and screwdrivers and, well, there's a few odd things, tie wire, pliers, stuff like that. But you can put it together. There's a videotape and a written manual. Shows you how to put the whole thing together, step by step.
With 10 to 15 hours of training, you too can join the 200 or so other sportcopter owners around the world. And with business picking up, Jim has built this state-of-the-art manufacturing plant at the Scappoose Airport. When it's finished, it will also serve as a training center.
I foresee every facet of either law enforcement or civilian use using a machine like this because it's very inexpensive. You can turn the engine off, glide in and land. You can put it on a trailer, take it to the area you're going to fly, bring it right in there, and that's very utility. That's really nice that way.
Whether the sport will take off is a question that's still out there on the horizon. So Jim is content to chase his dream and maybe have a little fun along the way.
When we come back, we'll have the story of Canadian glider pilot Manfred Radius.
His performance has been described as an aerial ballet.
I bought my car new in 1970. I drove a hockey team 190-mile round trip 3 times a week.
Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
I took good care of it. And when I reached 300,000, I thought, I've got to be a pretty good car.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer.
Secret to long life is regular maintenance for me and my car.
Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
John Rainwater, 207,258 miles.
William Bailey, 124,708 miles.
For the last few years, over 60,000 Toyota truck owners have shared their 100,000-mile stories with us. 60,000. Judging from that kind of response, it seems when people think of reliability, they picture a Toyota. Got 100, 200, 300,000 miles or more? Call us. Toyota trucks, you just gotta love them.
Them Taco Bell tacos, rock the beach, 59, 79, 99 cents each. Crunch so big, price so low, so eat Taco Bell tacos.
This is Pete.
Wake up, Pete!
While you asleep, let's go to Taco Bell. They're open 24 hours.
You should be jamming, not in your jammies. Cross the border.
Control is everything. Once you got it, everything else just falls in place. That's why I use this stuff, Pert Plus.
One smart shampoo, control-enhancing conditioners for hair that's easy to handle.
It just works. My hair does what I want. That's enough for me.
Pert Plus.
Great hair, no fuss.
Today's high-performance fighter planes feature some of the most sophisticated gadgets known to mankind. Lars Larson is here to show us just a few.
The best airplanes in the United States Air Force, manned by the best pilots they've got. Pilots like Pete McCaffrey.
I fly the lead solo or number 5 aircraft for the Air Force Thunderbirds.
The Air Force trusts multi-million-dollar aircraft to aviators like McCaffrey.
Bird 1, affirmative, report flags. I'll let you know when you can come in.
But he has some very high-tech help in the form of a computer-generated heads-up display, or HUD.
The HUD contains information such as airspeed, altitude, heading, the amount of G's, weapon symbology.
Thunderbird 8's with you, leveling off at 10,500.
The HUD takes virtually every instrument involved in flying or fighting with the plane and puts it right where the pilot can see it best.
It's very easy to use, and you don't need to think about looking down at switches and looking at different systems. You can put your head outside and fly the jet the best that you can.
And here's a view out my window in Thunderbird 8.
On the right-hand side, altitude in tenths of a foot. On the left, airspeed. In the center, the plane's angle of flight, or pitch attitude. So this stuff's only for jet jocks like McCaffrey, right?
Everything that we use on this jet, avionics-wise, is already out in the civilian world.
This is your digital airspeed.
Portland-based Flight Dynamics already offers a heads-up display. Alaska Airlines bought $10 million worth that let its planes take off and land in conditions that would ground other planes.
And when you reach 50 feet, DH appears, indicating that decision height and Category 3A limits have been reached.
The same technology that lets Pete McCaffrey dogfight gets you to the gate in time.
From the world of high-tech gadgetry to the purest form of flying, gliding. This year, one of the world's best glider pilots, Manfred Radius, returns to Hillsborough. Now, if you think glider flying isn't high-tech, think again.
There is one dream that has stretched across the ages. The dream to soar like a bird. The closest that man has gotten to that lofty goal is the sport of gliding. And one of the best at the art of gliding is airshow performer Manfred Radius. His high-tech airshow artistry was last seen in Portland in 1992.
Right in front of you. What a great job today by Manfred Radius.
Manfred was drawn to gliders as a child.
I spent a lot of time riding my bicycle, on the outskirts of Hamburg. And by coincidence, I came once by a gliding club, which was right at the outskirts of Hamburg, And a member told me I could take a ride in a glider, It was a very short flight, but I was enthusiastic. I loved it. It was the first time I had ever flown in any type of aircraft, And it was just fantastic.
He flew in gliders for 9 years until he moved to Toronto, Canada, where he took his first aerobatic flight. His performance is a graceful aerial ballet. Made dramatic by the fact that the glider operates without the benefit of power and at the mercy of rising and falling wind currents.
It's energy management, an airshow routine. Even in a motorplane, it's energy management because an engine has only so much power, The glider doesn't want to do anything what I want it to do. I have to make it do it.
Manfred performs at between 12 to 20 shows a year, living and working out of his van. At times, he has covered more than 3,000 miles in a single week. But traveling great distances is not unusual for Manfred.
In the warm season, I enjoy skydiving, I've been doing that for about 20 years now, of 804 jumps, And skydiving is a wonderful sport. It's out of this world.
Of all the things that Manfred can do in his glider, the one thing he is best known for is his breathtaking inverted ribbon cut.
I have to make sure I have the right speed when I do that inverted ribbon cut. You know, now being that low inverted, the last thing I want to do is to take my eyes off the ground. You know, I cannot afford to look at the instrument at that point. I mean, not for half a second, but I can judge the speed by the sound the glider makes. And I know I can hear when the glider gets slow. I know exactly when it gets slow and when it's time now to push the glider up, you know, and roll out.
The artist of the air lives to enjoy the skies. It is a joy he tries to share with everyone at the air show.
It's a wonderful feeling to soar with a bird, you know. Here we are, you know, without wings, you know, we are not, well, by nature we cannot fly, you know, but fortunately man has ingenuity, you know, and some smart people have developed aircraft, you know, and so we are able to fly, you know. It's a wonderful feeling.
Now to show that he isn't just gliding through life, let's join Manfred Radius for his breathtaking performance in the sky.
Hi, thank you.
There's still more to come on Magic in the Air. When we return, you'll witness the aerial face-off between Patty Wagstaff and Sean Tucker.
And meet the men behind the voices that call the show for the crowd.
Quark is in love with a fugitive on the run.
Following me will only get you killed.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Thursday night at 8 on KPTV 12.
Them Taco Bell tacos, rock the beach, 59, 79, 99 cents each. Crunch so big, price so low, so eat Taco Bell tacos.
This is Pete. Wake up, Pete! While you asleep, let's go to Taco Bell. They're open 24 hours. You should be jumping, snapping your jammies. Cross the border.
No matter how far the journey, the need to make it home is basic, instinctual, undeniable. A 1994 Toyota 4Runner. For the way there, for the way back.
This summer,
we got a cop gave a waitress a $2 million tip.
fall in love with the movie critics are calling the most romantic comedy of the year.
Why don't you just give her all the money?
It Could Happen to You will warm your heart and put a smile on your face.
Tonight's ride home is on me.
Nicolas Cage, Bridget Fonda, Rosie Perez. The feel-good film of the year. It Could Happen to You, rated PG.
Starts Friday, July 29th at a theater near you.
Hi from Snapple. A detective from Arizona writes, I'm an avid buyer of Snapple, but during my last purchase, I found the label on upside down. You're kidding.
I would like to say that I think it's a great product. Everybody makes mistakes, so the label's not really a big deal, and I just want to let them know that there was a little bit of error, and it's no big deal.
Sorry about the upside-down label, Charles. At Snapple, we don't like mistakes either. We are working hard to ensure that a similar error will not occur. Thank you.
Patty Wagstaff and Sean Tucker are without question two of the finest aerobatic pilots in the world today. But when one challenges the other to an airborne duel, watch out.
All right, here we go. They're taking off together. Anyway, Larry, smoke is on. Both airplanes. Here they come.
Sean Tucker and Patty Wagstaff.
All right, well, Sean's going straight up now, so I guess he gets to perform first. He's going through half a Cuban 8 turnaround here and rolling the airplane inverted, holding it inverted. Here comes Sean for his first maneuver. Takes it straight up in front of us and starts to throw the airplane out of control in a maneuver he calls the Tucker Upper. And that was a pretty spectacular way to start the show.
Nice start. Patty's coming in now. We're going to count the number of vertical snaps. 1, 2, 3, 4 snaps. 5. Holding it. Tail slide into the smoke.
Oh, I don't believe this.
And back down again. Now that's the way it's done, ladies and gentlemen.
And watch what he's going to do this time, because he starts to roll at 1-800-COLLECT Challenger, pulls back on the stick. That airplane once again will start to go straight up. He goes up, and he's going to throw the airplane out of control in a vertical Lumshavak, and he's not going to recover from that yet. He's going to take that and turn it into a torque roll. Out of the Lumshavak, into a torque roll, and look at it, torquing backwards down through the smoke. Oh, 100 miles per hour in reverse.
Now Patty's coming back in with a maneuver called the roller. There's the roll. And more, and more. And now all the way around, 360 degrees. Constantly snap rolling the aircraft, maintaining her altitude. This is the mark of a world champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Here they go, upside down, Larry. Both the aircraft sinking down.
Get your cameras ready.
The runway. Look at these two airplanes
side by side.
There's Sean. There's Patty. They took them out. Oh, don't these people make this stuff look easy?
Well, you be the judge.
Throughout our program, you've heard the voices of 2 men calling the action during the performance portions of the show. Now it's time to finally meet them. Ken Ackerman will make the formal introductions.
We should mention that we're colorblind, though.
Yeah. Is that a problem?
Here.
I'll come up with another system.
Okay.
Between the roar of the supersonic jets and the excitement of the crowd, you can hear the play-by-play action of the air show. Bits of information that keeps the crowd's interest peaked. These are the voices of Larry and Bob, 2 air show veterans. Bob has been the man with the golden voice behind the mic since 1969. This is his 4th year in Portland. And 8-year rookie, Larry Blackmore.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the 1994 U.S. Bank Rose Festival Airshow.
I think what gets the crowd excited is when you're excited. I mean, when you get into the acts, and having done it 8 years now, I can tell when they're really on, when a performer's really into it and doing a good job that day. And you get excited about it, it kind of comes through to the crowd.
Both Bob and Larry are pilots, but they never forget to keep things simple for the sake of the crowd.
I try to be not too technical. You know, I'm not here to impress pilots. I'm here to make sure that the average person, family coming to an air show, maybe they don't even come every year, maybe they come once every 2 years. I want them to be able to understand what's going on. He goes up, and he's going to throw the airplane out of control in a vertical Lumshavak.
I wish I could fly like Sean Tucker. I mean, the guy blows my mind when I watch him. Patty's the same way. I'm a pilot, and I love to fly. But watching them do what they do best, it's like watching the best golfers in the world. You wish you could make all those shots, you know. I wish I could do all of the things that they do in the air.
While Larry dreams of flying like Sean Tucker, Bob is satisfied with trying to put the crowd in the co-pilot's seat.
Any air show spectator who ever gets a chance to go up with an aerobatic pilot all of a sudden is going to realize this is a lot different than what they thought it was going to be. If you fly with the Sean Tuckers or the Patty Wagstaffs, this is another world once you're up there in that airplane for sure. It's really hard to get that across to the spectator.
Kane and Peter return home. Looks like that cult leader's come back again and face an old enemy on the next Kung Fu. Wednesday night at 9 on KPTV 12.
There are a couple of very good reasons to buy a Ford Taurus instead of a Toyota Camry. For starters, Taurus is the #1 selling car in America. Priced $2,600 less than a comparably equipped Camry, the Ford Taurus comes with a much more distinguished hood ornament. Buy one today at your local Northwest Ford dealer.
I bought my car new in 1970. I drove a hockey team 190-mile round trip 3 times a week.
Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
I took good care of it, and when I reached 300,000, I thought, I've got to be a pretty good car.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer.
The secret to long life is regular maintenance for me and my car.
Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
When you're using lots of tissues, are they soft enough?
No, never. Really blowing a lot. That's why you get a raw nose. It's really sore right around the edge.
That's why there's Ultra Soft Puffs.
Wow, really soft. Very velvety.
You see, puffs are puffed for softness that really adds up. Softness that 4 out of 5 people prefer.
Nobody uses one tissue. I could go like this, and I didn't have any rawness. Puffs does not offend your nose. I'm going to change to Puff.
Ultra Soft Puffs, softest on your nose through all the blows.
This morning, my nose said thank you.
Well, Rod, our time's up. You know, it seems like these 2 hours go by faster each year.
I know what you mean, Elaine, but of course that's all the more reason to look forward to next year's show.
And the planning's already underway. It promises to be even more exciting.
I'd like to say on behalf of the entire KPTV production staff, thanks for watching, everyone, and we hope that you'll join us again next year for Magic in the Air 95. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
I'll take a ticket.
Okay.
Need a program?
Clear for takeoff.
KPTV's exclusive coverage of the 1994 U.S. Bank Rose Festival Airshow has been brought to you in part by Taco Bell. Satisfy your late-night craving. Open 24 hours. By Toyota. I love what you do for me. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by your Northwest Ford dealers. Home of the Ford Taurus. The best-selling car in America.
This is Dave Thompson. Coming up next on the 10 o'clock news, the grocery strike is delayed. Golfers take swings at the Portland City Council. The dying comet bombards Jupiter. For the first time ever, Palestinians riot against their own police force, and the World Cup ends on a penalty kick shootout. The 10 o'clock news is next.